Here are my thoughts right now when it comes to ICP. Not too long ago, Dfinity made a post talking about how running things basically fully on-chain requires two things: compute capacity and as well as storage capacity. Now, even though nothing I say is financial advice, why do I even want to talk about this, right? It's because I feel like sometimes we see some other projects out there. They have that compute capacity, but then they lack in the storage capacity. But then in some other cases, it's vice versa. They maybe have that storage capacity, but then they don't have that compute capacity. Because supposedly, when it comes to, the internet computer, we've been hearing a lot of these kind of talks about, things hypothetically being fully on chain and stuff like this. Like Dfinity seems to be having this pretty heavy emphasis towards something like that. And I feel like this kind of highlights some points that I mentioned in my previous videos about how it seems like the internet computer is purpose-built for things to be kind of arguably fully on-chain. Because if we consider some other projects out there that only focus on the storage capacity, maybe they don't really think about the compute capacity and maybe what role that could play in the case of AI later on. Like some other projects out there, because they were made like so long ago, well, not that long ago, but I think, you kind of get the point, right? Because they were made before kind of AI became this pretty big narrative. In some cases, they didn't really think about this type of stuff, but then it's kind of too late. They already launched the project. They already did their thing. It's already kind of up and running. It already has a pretty okay following. What's going to happen if they suddenly say, oh yeah, turns out we built this not properly. Okay, let's start again. Like, it's not going to be such a good vibe. You know what I mean? So they're already kind of too committed to what they're trying to do, to the point that trying to have things run fully on chain, sometimes it's not that easy because they kind of lack in that hypothetical sort of feature in which they would need to be able to do so. But what I like about Dfinity is the foresight, right? It seems like they kind of hypothetically knew that, okay, let's have something that is a little bit over-designed. You know what I mean? Where it's a little bit over capacity, because now we clearly kind of hypothetically see some of these, features of the internet computer in which sometimes some of their projects out there, arguably, I don't know if it has that, to be able to run things fully on chain. Like for instance, if we take a look into the case of AI, a lot of other projects out there, they say, we want, AI aspects of this to run fully on chain, but then some of them are not really kind of designed for something like that. So this is why I wanted to talk about this and kind of just highlight, I think, kind of the, perspective that I have, right, when it comes to Dfinity and the internet computer as of right now, despite ICP clearly not doing the best and being approximately 31 times lower than $100 as we speak. But then beyond that, people like to say, well, these type of storage capacity stuff that I'm talking about, or the compute capacity, like who's really going to care about that? Well, I think that arguably some developers could care about that, right? Because I think previously there was really none of these, I would say, prominent talks about, things being fully on chain, but now we're kind of hearing a lot of that in some cases. So now it's becoming more of a narrative. So when it comes to a developer, let's say, or something like that, maybe they might care about this type of stuff. Who knows, right? I'm not a developer, but I'm just saying maybe it could be a narrative. Again, narratives do change eventually, in some cases, hypothetically. But besides that, when I take a look at the internet computer as well, people like to say, well, when it comes to what they're trying to do, no one's really going to care about this. Well, at least I care about it, I guess. But still, even besides that point, people like to say, well, okay, when it comes to this, can't some other projects out there just improve it in that sense? Like maybe they lack compute capacity, maybe they can just do something to it. But maybe if they're already fundamentally too kind of, committed to a certain architecture, I suppose, I don't know how easy it is to kind of just change that. I mean, who knows, right? Maybe it's a little bit difficult, which is why I think a lot of other projects out there, they seem to be having not such a hypothetically easy time doing things fully on chain. It's like, for instance, imagine if I am trying to, swim, right, in the ocean or something like that, or go to the beach. Let's say I'm using board shorts and suddenly someone's like, hey, let's go to a wedding. I'm like, what? How can I do that, right? I don't have the equipment, I would say. I don't have the attire, I guess, to do something like that if I was not prepared. So then the thing is, Just like how I would not personally, right? In that situation, I'm not going to be using board shorts to go to like something which I would deem to be a pretty hypothetical formal event. Like that's not what I'm going to do. So then in that case, I'm unprepared, right? But in this case, some other projects out there, they kind of give me that vibe where they feel a little bit unprepared because they didn't know they were going to be doing stuff like this. So this right here is just my thoughts when it comes to what I just saw recently. Even though altcoins are not doing the best, you know what? I'm staying patient, but at least I want to make this video to talk about how I feel regarding the recent post that Dfinity made. So I want to say thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. It's only the captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.